Good morning, folk. Welcome back to another Chart Nerd TA video. If you're new to the channel, welcome. If you're returning, thank you for your ongoing support. Today we are going to take a look at a real-world asset project called Credefi. The ticker is CREDI against USDT. And we're looking here currently on the weekly time frame. So again, the macro scale of things, and I wanted to get on a few key levels of support and resistance and just explain what I think's been going on here. So you can see that around this mark here for Credi at, where are we? It's about 0.013. This area was previously key resistance that Credi needed to break out of, and you can see that from these lows down here we had this ascending level of support. So you could say, okay, well, we was in some sort of large macro ascending triangle here where we were calling up, we put in higher lows, we had a key level of resistance we needed to break out, and you can see that once she came up again here, pulled back, she exploded and took this resistance out. Now, something to point out, when you break out of these macro key resistance points, ideally you would tend to want to see, for it to be healthy anyway, some sort of pullback back to this area for support. So turn previous resistance into support to look for the continuation of the trend. Okay, so this is something to keep in mind, and what I wanted to point out to you guys first. We have melted through resistance and we haven't backtested it as support. So over the next coming weeks, if Bitcoin is a bit rocky or the markets do have a bit of a tumble and you do see Credi pull back quite steeply, I do think that to get to these targets, it is quite another nasty drawback from here. We've got another 55% to get down there. So again, keep this in mind. From the already 50-60% correction we've had, does this have to play out? No, it doesn't. Could these couple of wicks here be the lows? Yes, they could. This area doesn't have to be back tested. All I'm saying is, for the project itself, it would be really healthy if it did come back for one final tap on key previous resistance, turn it to support, and then explode. I think it would be very, very healthy. Now, again, you've got the ascending triangle, the higher lows, and from breaking out, you can see that from this low, we came up to this high, we came back to a higher low, and now you've got a higher high. So this is it's bullish market structure. You're working up in waves, and what you want to see here is a wave pullback again, and then your continuation, and you could say you've got 1, 2, this is a macro 3, a 4, and a 5. And whether that's the first major wave before another large correction and continuation, or it's the end of Credi's run, who knows? We'll evaluate that at a time if it plays out. But again, this is the sort of move, macro move, that I'm looking at for a potential large, really, really large, massive wave. Again, of which I'll get targets on soon or in another video. But again, I just wanted to do an eye opener today. I think this is a real potential gem. And yeah, again, nothing that I say is financial advice. It's all for educational and entertainment purposes only. But the altcoin market really is starting to heat up and has been for a few weeks. We are currently in a 50 to 60% pullback as we speak on Credi. And again, if you are looking for an entry point and things do turn pretty sour, this again is where I would be loading my bags up really heavily, because if we sweep these lows here, these wicks that we've just had, and retest this area, I think things could get really impulsive from there. But yeah, so this was a little breakdown of how we've got to where we've got to. Ascending triangle, you've got higher lows, higher highs, all good bullish market structure, and you're sort of flipping the switch and reversing the trend here. Great news, right? It's great stuff. But again, this isn't to say that we can't have pullbacks, and again, I am looking for this 0.013 as a key entry point. Now, to invalidate us coming down to this target, again, we don't have to come down here. If we look, actually, let's go back to the weekly. If we look at last week's candle, this correction could actually already be in. Now, why do I say that? Well, last week's candle, first off, this is a bullish hammer. Okay, so you've got near to no wick at the top of the candle. You've got this small chunk of body candle here, and then a large wick underneath where all the buying pressures just come back in. So as long as we can close out above 0.028 this week, I think we remain relatively healthy and could see some further push up here for Credi. Now, zooming into the daily, there are areas above of which I think we could meet as potential resistance points on the way back up from this low, retracing to our high, which we've come down from. You could see that the golden ratio would be key areas of resistance that I would like to see Credi break out of in order to say, hey, okay, we're sort of looking to retrace back up to this 1 fib now and retrace to this high. from this low. Okay, so the golden ratio is the key range to watch out for resistance, because if we come up to this point and fail and start retracing to this low and sweep it, then again, that 13 cents, this target right here, this high, I guarantee is about 13 as well. Yeah, 13. So since we've broken out of that major key resistance I showed you on the weekly, this is also this is part of that major key resistance. Because we've seen the melt out, if we see Credi start working its way down and losing 19, then I think that's giving more confidence to the point that we are going to come towards the 13 range, and on this key backtest and major previous resistance backtest to support, and at that point that's where you get your sort of explosive wave out once you've come back down to retest this high that hasn't been backtested as support. So it's all about breaking this 050 and 0618 for me, and if we do that, then I think we are on our way to the 1 fib at 59 again. And yeah, so that's what I'm basically waiting for. I'm waiting for the confirmational break of 0.039 above the 0618, or in between and holding the 050, and then the retest of the high. Again, what could occur here is, if this is the low, currently speaking, we could be, again, you could come back in for a higher low and then attack. Okay, so as long as you've got a low here, if we pull back right now for a higher low and hold this 19, then we could be looking for that attack up to the 050 and 0618, and further targets up to this 1 fib. So there's a lot in front of us to get our asses back above. Okay, we have to get our asses back above the fibs. And there's also one other thing I wanted to point out. I was saying this to my friend not long ago for Credi, is that we had... let me get the fib off. So just keep in mind 3.4 to 3.9. Okay, they're targets that resistance is going to be key. Key resistance will be met. Now, what I also wanted to show you guys is, ignore the red circle. Credi has this sort of head and shoulders pattern that was playing out. And I was saying to my friend, hey, look, if we lose this neckline and confirm it as resistance, which is what we're doing right now, you can see we're reacting negatively off of the head and shoulders resistance. So this was previously support, we lost the support, and now we're running into that as resistance, that previous support as resistance. So if Credi fails to stay and close above 0.031 in the next coming days, then I am expecting at least some pullback to this low, and it's going to be whether we hold and put in a higher low here and attack further and create some sort of a double bottom or ascending triangle, or we either come back and we sweep this low, and this is where we're going to see that last sort of dip down to that 13 range where we could load our bags up. Sorry for such a mess. But yeah, if this is a key rejection point, what I would like to see for support going forward and for a higher low, again, reversal, just like on the way up, on the way down also, the golden ratio is very important. So if we was to start seeing rejection and Credi pull back here, you need the 0618 to hold, because if we do, you've got a low, you've got a high, come back to support on the 0618 for a higher low, and then look to break out again. And as I said, you've got some sort of double bottom on your hands here, coiling up and ascending support, looking for that breakout back up to the 1 fib. So it's all about, again, ascending triangle. You're under support, you're under resistance, coil up in this triangle, breakout. Okay, that's, so if we do start pulling back, this is the key area to hold for Credi in the near short term in the next few days, 25 to 23. Okay, so the pullback targets are 25, 23. Again, if we start breaking out 34, 39, then you're looking good. Retracing to 24, 23, you need to hold support. Fail that, then you could be looking to come down, sweeping these lows, and this is the indicator you're looking for that 13 cent retest that we spoke about earlier. Now again, let's see where this head and shoulders target actually takes us. So if we go from the head and shoulders to the neckline and where we lost support, ironically, again, as we tie up, the head and shoulders neckline just falls underneath our 0.013 range. So is this giving us a sign that, hey, right now you've currently put in a 1, this is a wave 2, this is a wave 3, this could be a wave 4 up here, and then you're looking for your final 5th wave down to the high here, the previous high here at 13. So I hope that's not too confusing. Again, as you can see, not inverse head and shoulders. This is a head and shoulders, bearish. You've got a left shoulder, a head, a right shoulder. You've lost the support of that shoulder. You've put in a low. You've retraced back up to the resistance line now of this previous support for the head and shoulders and looking at getting rejected. Okay, so it's all about taking out 30, taking out 34 to 39 because they're key resistance on the way up to this high. Failing to do so, if we reject at current price, if we reject here instead, we need to hold 23, 24, put in a higher low, coil up in some sort of pattern here like this, ascending triangle, break this resistance, then you're looking for the retest of this high up here. And if not, as I said, if we come back and lose this low, sweep this low, then I think we're looking for that 13 range and that final 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down before starting to flip the switch and continue here for Credi. So I hope that wasn't too complicated for you guys. Yeah, I'm going to leave it at that and not go over it all again. Key areas of support, 0.013. That's our key support area. Key resistance to get back above are these local highs here at 38, 39. And that's what we're looking for, okay? So if Credi comes down, loses this support, 13's your short, down to this high. If Credi can come back here, hold the lows and start breaking 39, then that's your confirmation for the retest up to the local high. Okay, guys, I hope you enjoyed the content from Chart Nerd TA. Take care. Peace out.